Who is actually next for Ilya Taporia? Now, we all know that Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev are going to be fighting. I'm not sure about the date, but I don't even think that's announced yet. But we all know that that fight is happening. Um, so he's not getting Islam. He's staying at lightweight. So, I mean, look, whenever I pull up the rankings, there's really not a lot of options if I'm being 100% honest. Um, Obviously, the number one contender is Armin Saryukin, but even Ilya himself, he recently just said that he does not want to fight Saryukin. He doesn't want to fight Saryukin. He said if the UFC offers it to him, they might as well just take the belt from him because he's not going to fight him. So I don't think Saryukin's going to get the next title shot, which is BS in my opinion. I think Saryukin obviously deserves it, right? He just his last win was against Oliveira, who, you know, Ilya just beat for the belt. Um, got Max Holloway. He fought he fought on the last card against DP. He knocked him out, but the thing is, Ilya just knocked him out. Very, very, very recently. I feel like. So those two, it seems like those two are kind of out of the mix. Even though it should obviously be Armin, I don't think he's going to get it. I don't. Um, Justin Gaethje, he's saying that he's going to retire if they don't give him a title shot. But no, 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 no. He's not. No, he is not getting a title shot. No. Honestly, I think he should fight Armin. Since they're kind of icing Armin. Um, since he's not getting the title shot, you know, g- give him to Saryukin. I think that would be a fun fight. If Saryukin wins that, then he's undeniable. You know what I mean? Then he's undeniable. That's how he gets the title shot if he fights somebody else. And then you got Dan Hooker, Gamrot, Dariush, and then Paddy Pimblett, which is, obviously the fight that I think is actually going to happen, right? I actually think that they're going to give Ilya, or they're going to give, Ilya or they're going to give Pimblett to Ilya, because I think Ilya's going to starch him. I think Ilya starches him in round. Like, if he really wants to, I think he knocks him out in one round. That's honestly just my opinion. I think, Pimblett, don't get me wrong, Pimblett's a good fighter, but he is way, way too open. He's way too open, and Ilya is way too precise. I think Ilya catches them very early, rocks them early, and finishes them. That's honestly what I think. Um, I think that would be an easy title defense, and I do think that that is what's next, in my opinion. You know, now let's talk a little bit about Islam, right? Um, which is crazy to think. Imagine if Bilal Muhammad won that fight against Jack, right? That would have been crazy. Imagine seeing that Ilya Taporia versus Islam Makhachev. That would have been nuts. Like, seriously. But we all know that Islam's fighting Jack. Now I think look, at first um whenever Jack first beat Bilal Muhammad, I was super high on Jack. I was like, ooh, Bilal didn't really touch him much. But I heard, or didn't really get him to the ground much. He couldn't get him. And Bilal shot a lot. But I had heard recently, um, I forget what fighter had said it. Yeah, I forget. But yeah, he was saying that Islam is just a different kind of grappler than Bilal. He has a different, better kind of technique. Um, and I do agree with that. I think Islam is going to be way tougher than Bilal Muhammad. Um, and unfortunately for Jack, I don't think that he gets that done. I think Islam does um, beat him in a back and forth fight, though. Uh, I mean, I actually could see Islam, taking him down kind of early, submitting him. but I can also see a back and forth like the Volk one fight, and Jack is a way bigger guy than Alexander was. Um, if Jack can keep it on the feet, I think he pieces Islam up for sure. But it's a big if. If he can stay on the feet. You know, I you know I don't think Jack gets it done. I think Islam gets it done, and this is a lot of people don't really think this, but I think Islam, after winning the welterweight belt, I think he will go back down. I think he would go down, and just because he's a super disciplined guy, I think he can obviously he could do it. Um, I think that he does do it though. I think he beats Jack, and then he goes back down and he fights Ilya Taporia. Ilya Taporia, fresh off of knocking out Paddy Pimblett. Um, could you imagine if they made that fight at the White House? And that's in about a year, so that's kind of perfect timing. They can both get in one fight. Islam fights Jack. Ilya fights Paddy, and I think they both get it done. And if they both get it done, that is a perfect time because they recently they announced that the White House wanted to have an event, a UFC event, and you got to stack that for sure. Um, or honestly, another good fight for the White House, I think it would be Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz 3. And I know that's super out of left field, but hear me out. Look, Conor McGregor does not have much left in him, right? You know, he's partying, to say the least. He's having a good time. He's super coked out. Yeah, I don't see him. I don't even know if he does come back. But if he does, I think he does. I think he does, maybe, but he does not have much left in him. I don't think as a fighter, as a person, I'm sure he's healthy. He just, plays in the snow. But I'm sure other than that, he's overall, he's all right. He's got a ton of money. He doesn't need a fight. He can just relax, eat ice creams. um,
Well, it says on my
but
screen.
yeah, I think
But since they're
that
listening
fight
to what we
needs to
say,
happen ASAP because that fight was kind of
that being
promised
which
to
one
us by everybody.
got
Like, I
like
mean,
things that
and even after the second fight, the Nate Diaz Conor McGregor fight, I think everybody kind of knew like, oh, we're gonna get a trilogy. Like for sure we're gonna get a trilogy. Um, and that would be kind of crazy. It would kind of suck if that fight didn't happen. Just for the OG MMA fans. Um, yeah, that would be awesome. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think.